Today, I'm going to talk about something that happened to my husband and I yesterday while I play in my traveler's notebook. I'm experimenting with images, experimenting with shapes, so there's no earth shattering science going on here. What happened to us was we were at a traffic stop for road construction on a street very close to our home. And it's a huge long street, and they're repaving it. And because of that, they're correcting a couple things. And um, anyhow, so we got stopped, and we got stopped for a good long time. Well, we were the first in line, and I realized the guy that was holding the flag that says "Stop or Go" was dancing to some music from the '80s that I would have danced to if I had any dancing skills. So I started laughing at him and joking with him, and rolled down the window and repeating some of the words. And he started laughing, and he came over and he said, "So sorry you're having to wait," and blah 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 blah. And I said, "Oh, no, that's fine." He said, "Oh, well, you're a lot nicer than a lot of people." And we got talking to about some of the people he's encountered while holding up a traffic sign for road construction on this street by us. And he is black, and he told us that he is called the N word about 8 times a day. It had already happened about six yesterday. He has had things thrown at him. He has had guns pulled on him while he's just doing a construction job, traffic patterning for a construction job. He has had um, uh, people told him that Trump was going to get him shoved off this planet. I mean, horrible things, horrible things. And then he proceeded to tell us that he gets paid $5 an hour extra to work in this area because of the racism. And I'm like, what? He said, yes. He said, yes, ma'am. I said, these are my neighbors. These are people that live within 3 miles of my house. He said, well, he said, anybody that works in this area that's black gets paid $5 an hour. Active, uh, uh, basically what they call hazard duty pay, like what you get paid in the military if you're going to a war zone. And he said, yep. He said, I said, well, I want to apologize for every one of them. He goes, I don't think you have enough apologies in you. And I said, well, I find that horrific, horrific. But that's what Trump has allowed in this country. There's always going to be racism. There's racism in this country. There's racism in the South. But he promoted it. He promoted fighting for it and dividing people. And that's tragic. That is tragic. I said, it is 2020. He goes, yep. He said, I have a 1-year-old child that I like to get home to every night. He goes, I'm thick. I have thick skin. I put up with it. I said, but that's just horrible. And I said, and as these people are my neighbors, I apologize for them. I said, I am so sorry. And we went home for the rest of the night and talked about it several times. I called my sister in California. I said, that is awful. That is horrifically awful that that man has had that kind of stuff done to him on a daily basis within 2 miles of my house. I guess you just don't think of it happening around you. And even though you don't feel like that, and it's happened. He said it happens on an hourly basis. I'm like, oh my goodness. I said, I apologize. I thought that was horrible. I am playing with images. I am just trying to come up with color combos. And I did not have a good day, probably because my head is still in this mindset um, about how this man has been treated. And here in my neighborhood, on a daily basis, many times a day, yay, yay. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow with more art, less politics. That's not politics, that's just human nature. Unbelievable. Unacceptable behavior.